Welcome, Gemini, to the month of August 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and or rising signs in the third zodiacal sign of Gemini, the twins. Now, the month starts out with your ruling planet going retrograde, but it will go direct on August 19th. I mean, it didn't really start out retrograde. It was retrograde from the prior month of July. So now, moving right along, the moon, however, is coming over or trailing over from July 31st and on into August 1st in Pisces, which then proceeds to oppose Venus in your fourth house of the home in Virgo. And this opposition gives you that point of awareness, as I like to say, of how you emotionally love perhaps your career within your home. This could be something, but it's possible tensions, possible, but it's in other words, it's not a bad thing. It's the month starts out with a challenge to your home life versus your career life. So in other words, there's a need for balance in some way. Then the moon goes into, oh, and you're here, by the way. There's Earth. The moon goes into your 11th house in Aries and proceeds to trine your ruling planet Mercury in your third house where you naturally reside, Gemini. So here we have the sun in Leo, your ruling planet Mercury, retrograde until August 19th, the north node of the moon, trining very harmoniously, or four signs or four houses away, to the moon in the other fiery sign. See, Leo, Aries, and over here is Sagittarius. So there is a very harmonious trine from how you will be able to emotionally communicate with friends. But just beware that the communications might not always be perceived correctly with this retrograde, or you might be communicating strangely. I don't know exactly how that will affect you, but things might be a little topsy-turvy, yet since this is a very harmonious aspect, or 120-degree harmonious harmonious trine, then your communications, which is very big for you, as Mercury, your ruling planet Mercury, rules the communication of mankind, and this is the house of conscious communications. Well, then you'll be able to harmoniously communicate within groups or with your friends, as well as about your goals and wishes. So then moving right along on August 4th, the last quarter moon happens in your 12th house of the subconscious mind. And here we have it's in its last quarter phase in Taurus, and here we have Uranus having gone from Aries into the grounded earth sign of Taurus, and which, by the way, will be transiting your 12th house for the next 7 years, as it's a generational planet. And with this last quarter moon happening at 12 degrees Taurus, 19 minutes, it then trines Venus in your 4th house of the home, and so with yet another harmonious trine, August starts out very pleasant for you. And you may be communicating with others within the home in a very loving way. Then Uranus, as I just got through speaking of, goes retrograde, and I'm not quite sure how that affects you and your 12th house, but it's a very interesting planet because it rules the other air sign of Aquarius. And so there is an interesting, not really quite sure, but electricity, perhaps, within the mind and intellect, perhaps. Also on the 7th of August, your ruling planet sextiles the moon when the moon later moves into your sign, into your 1st house, and then sextiles Mercury retrograde. So this is pleasant for emotionally connecting with yourself, the body, be connected with textile things. Like, since you, Gemini, rule the hands, you want to be touching things, and you will be able to emotionally express yourself, as it's sextiling between the 1st of the body and the 3rd, your house of communications. So you will most likely be expressing yourself with your hands, and this is when that will happen on August 7th. In other words, you'll be very expressive when you speak. And then on August 9th, Pluto in your 8th house in Capricorn, once the moon moves into your 2nd house of money and what you value, Pluto then opposes the moon. So from the 8th to the 2nd houses, you now have this point of awareness between what you value in terms of money and your emotional attachment to such things, as the vehicle to or exchange to how you become aware and transform your ability to value others' needs. That's what I get from this opposition. Then on August 11th, the new moon occurs in your third house. New as in new ideas of communication, and new as in when the sun and moon come together, there becomes a new state of consciousness. And then too, and that happens at 18 degrees Leo, 42 minutes. Then too, we have a partial solar eclipse happening. And for you, Gemini, it's in your third house. So a lot to do with communication and short distance travel. But something new is on the horizon for you on August 11th. Then Mars enters Capricorn on August 13th, going into your 8th house of others' resources. That's our first planet ingress of the month. And then the following day, Mars trines the moon once the moon enters your 4th house in Virgo. And so now you have a very harmonious and pleasant trine between how you assert yourself and as well as within the home, but with how you maybe attain backing or financial support, emotional goings on, but in a very harmonious way. Then 2 days later, on August 16th, the moon in Libra, in your 5th house of romance and creativity, squares Mars. And this square might be a little trifling and challenging to your creative sense or your romantic partner. There might be something to do with others asking for your help and you're doing your best, and I don't know, that however it might unfold for you, it's just general, so it's not really sure how that's going to pan out. Then on August 18th, the first quarter moon happens in your 6th house of work, health, and service given in Scorpio at 25 degrees Scorpio, 20 minutes. And with this first quarter, much like the new moon, you have the ability to take first steps, strides toward your journey of whatever it is you're attempting. And this moon in Scorpio, intensity toward your work, more striving for the goals that you're trying to go after in terms of a project at work or something. Then Mars sextiles the first quarter moon on that very same day. Mars sextiling moon, so you may very well be able to ask for a raise from your higher ups or other authorities, because see here, emotionally you will be able to assert yourself in a very pragmatic way because Mars is in Capricorn now. So you'll be able to ask for a raise.